What up, X Factor? Welcome in to another edition of the PHNX Mercury podcast. I'm your host, Saul Bookman. This is my guy, Hayden Silly. How's it going, Hayden?
It's going good. Long time no see.
Yeah, it's only been since like Friday.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fun. A lot of stuff has happened since Friday. Obviously, WNBA Commissioner Cathy Englebert announced that the Phoenix Mercury will be hosting the 2024 WNBA Allstar game, which is fantastic. It's something that I knew was being worked on behind the scenes. Here's a little nugget. That's not all. And you can stay tuned for more announcements probably here in the next couple weeks regarding other endeavors, NBA and WNBA related. So that's pretty cool. But this is a tremendous move. But you don't have to take our word for it. Or Hayden's, even though he didn't get a word in. How about you just take it from the GOAT?
And I just remember the energy that was in this building. And to fast forward to 2014 and get to play an All-Star game here, you know, with BG and some of my other teammates was just an amazing opportunity. And to fast forward 10 years, for this game to be back in this city, it just speaks volumes to Matt and our organization that put everything forward for this city. And at the end of the day, it's for this city. It's for how much this city loves basketball. This community is so tight-knit. We're a big city, but it has a small hometown feel. It's why it's been home for me and my family now for 19 years. You know, we have everything the big cities have, but we have heart, and that's what sets it apart.
I mean, again, tremendous opportunity. Also, tremendous camera work by the guy that was sitting right in front of you, Hayden.
That
grabbing all that
actually
stuff.
a female. I was navigating. I was weaving back and forth. I'm lifting my camera up like this. I'm like, come on. But hey, you know what? Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
The third time the Merc are going to host the WNBA All-Star game, the first time since 2014, as DT pointed out. What are your overall thoughts on this?
It's, you know, I'm not going to lie. I was very skeptical when Matt Ishbia first bought the team.
Why?
And a lot of the moves he made, because we have seen an owner that kind of wants to take control. That's what I thought the direction was going to go. I mean, majority of my life, it's been Robert Sarver. So leaves a bad taste in people's mouths. But Ishbia wants, you know, every time he talks about the Suns, he also mentions the Mercury. It's a joint effort like we talked about last week. But one of the first things, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in one of our other clips, but one of the key points he made when he first got to Phoenix was, I want the NBA and WNBA All-Star game to be here. And he's a competitor. Yeah. He really is. And it's something that I admire just because he's surrounding himself with people that can help not only the Suns, but the Mercury be a destination that players want to go to.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. You know, and the best person to speak about that is obviously the CEO of the Phoenix Suns and the National Basketball CEO of the Suns, Josh Bartlestein. And if you don't know that name, folks, you're going to want to, because he is a big-time player in the organization, both on the WNBA side and the NBA side. And this is what he had to say about the WNBA or the All-Star game coming here to Phoenix.
The All-Star game is turning so much more to a game, and Vince tells me this all the time. It's not about the game, it's about the entire weekend. It's a celebration of these amazing women athletes. It's a celebration of what the W has become, the exponential growth. It's a celebration of the private-public partnerships, what it'll mean to businesses. And one thing you know about us is when we do something, we raise the ceiling on it. So those who might have seen it in Vegas or have been here in 2014, the level we're going to take this to is something the W has never seen. It's because of all the people that are in this building. So thank you guys for that.
Well, listen, I have no doubt that they're going to put on a first-class experience, unlike any other. I think the other thing that Ishbia and Bartlestein and Justin Ishbia as well have always said is that they want a top-level experience for all fans. This is the first opportunity that they're going to get to be able to prove that outside of a potential Suns playoff run next year, because after that is the All-Star game. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah, even look at the TV deal that they did, where it's like, I don't remember the exact term, but it's like live over the air, where people don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay to watch a Mercury game. You won't have to pay to watch a Suns game. And it's like, he really embraces accessibility, which I think, especially in the WNBA, is a big focal point that they have. They talk about accessibility of players, of coaches, especially surrounding an event like All-Star. Like, they have WNBA Live. They did that for a second straight season where they had like ESPN outside of, this year was Michelob Ultra Arena. Next year it'll be Footprint Center, and just sort of talking about players and having players on and allowing the fans to really get that experience that they really wouldn't be able to get anywhere else.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, I don't know what they're going to do to add to it, but I do know this. There were a couple things that, first of all, from a league-wide perspective, need to change. Number one, you don't have your skills challenge and your three-point shootout in the middle of a damn Friday afternoon.
Thank you.
That was ridiculous.
Preach, Saul. Come on.
That was absolutely just, I went on a whole tangent about it last Friday. We missed, the whole country relatively missed one of the greatest three-point displays of all time. Not one of, the greatest. I mean, Sabrina Ionescu hitting 25 of 27 shots, which is just absurd.
She hit 20 in a row.
Yes. Just absurd. Like you haven't seen anything like that since Craig Hodges back in the early 90s with the Chicago Bulls. So, and then on top of that, multiple players tweeting out, complaining about ticket issues and not being able to invite people to come and watch them perform. Like, I don't know if LeBron wanted 10 tickets, LeBron's getting 10 tickets. I don't know what the hang up is here when somebody like BG or DT or, Plum wants tickets and can't even get tickets. Hell, Kelsey Plum is in her own city and couldn't even get tickets. She had to go out to social media to ask, and people were like donating, saying, hey, you can have my tickets. Like that's just such a bad look.
It's ridiculous.
So there's a couple things that they need to tweak. I don't think we'll have the same issues here with Matt Ishbia and company, because they do things at a high class level.
Yeah, I'll say this too. One thing I'm glad they changed was the All-Star Game trophy. Did you see it last year?
Yes,
you see it? It's like
small,
a
little tiny one.
It's like a little tiny
baby
teacup.
trophy.
Yeah, it's like something you would give a toddler, but even that might be disrespectful. But they actually gave a legitimate trophy this year, and
it was like 10 times the size.
Oh yeah, it was like, I don't know what material they used, but I mean, it's not something you could buy for $20 on Amazon. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, for sure. As always, we're brought to you by the good old folks at OG's. So check them out at ogsbrands.com for all your edible delights this last weekend. Obviously, a lot of good stuff that I was partaking in because that's what I do. I like to take the edge off and just chill out. I was actually building an outdoor couch from scratch. So
I saw that on Twitter. How did that go?
It's all done. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. It's probably one of the greatest things ever invented. So, but of course, I was on OG's when I put it all together. So maybe it's not. I don't know. I'll have to go recalibrate when I go back home today. So. Anyway, OG's, make sure you're 21 and over and check them out at ogsbrands.com for your closest dispensary. And yeah, so it's pretty dope.
That's awesome.
Britney Griner had a fantastic
yes, she did.
All-Star game. Let's talk about some of the All-Star game activity. And let's start with Britney Griner. 18 points, 13 rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, a double-double, 2 dunks. I mean, really throwing the hammer down. And everybody was saying, well, is she gonna dunk? Because last year it was Sylvia Fowles that dunked. But no, I mean she played great in the bit that I was able to watch. BG looked awesome. She just looked like she was having fun. Yeah. And as someone that covered the team last season, it's really fun to see just her to be back in her element. And not only that, but just other players as well. Breanna Stewart. I mean, that was her first draft pick in the All-Star draft, and she was one of the biggest advocates for BG coming home. So that was really cool to see, but it was just awesome to see almost like them rallying around her, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, everybody said it last year, like the season's not the same, the All-Star game's not the same without BG, but now that she's back, it's like, okay, there's a sense of normalcy. Like, this is how things are supposed to be.
Yeah, it's we're glad that she's back, obviously, but also, I think everybody forgot how dominant she is.
Oh yeah,
I mean, she's one of the best bigs in in the W. It's not even debatable. I think she's having a phenomenal season this year. She's playing at a very high level. It's almost like she's making up for lost time.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty crazy. And I think a lot of the players really genuinely love BG. I think they really enjoy playing with her. They enjoy having her out on the court. And listen, any guard will tell you the most valuable thing to them is a quality big person. And so she's definitely that person.
Oh yeah. I mean, I say this to Espo all the time. Like it doesn't matter what sport, you could be tall and not be good, right?
Oh yeah.
Like
oh yeah.
It sounds so stupid,
yeah,
but
so true. Our producer right now is Jacob Franklin. That's all you need to know. I mean,
but you've seen players that are 6'10", that are 6'11", that can be good, but they're not. And I had this conversation with a lot of people. I'm like, BG's 6'9", but she's skilled, right? She's got that patented mid-range jumper, the turnaround jump hook that I wish I could learn, because it's just nobody can stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And I could go into more detail, footwork. She knows where to be. Granted, even out of a double team or a triple team, she knows who's open at all times. So it's really cool. It's really cool to see that her hard work is being paid off. And even after the 2021 season, they were saying that she's just entering her prime. Like she was in her bag offensively, and she's even, she's been in her bag and then some this year, with the exception of a couple made threes. But that's okay. Nonetheless, I mean, almost 20 and 10, almost leading the league in blocks, if I'm not mistaken. Just what a comeback story.
Yeah, for sure. It does lead us into, we had just talked about Matt Ishbia and company. And one of the things that you've seen with the Suns is they are not afraid to make moves, right? I have a feeling the same thing is going to happen in this offseason coming up for the Mercury. I don't think that they're going to sit around and allow this to happen, because this has been kind of a train wreck of a season record-wise. There's been movement. There's been a head coaching change. There's a lot of things that are still not at a peak level, and there's a lot of room for change. With that being said, in the second half of the season, what are you most looking forward to? How do you think this is all going to shake out?
I'm right with you. I think moves will be made at the end of the season. I think right now it's, can they make the playoffs somehow, some way? It's how the WNBA always works. I mean, that's, I hate to say it, but that's what happens when you have, when 8 teams make the playoffs out of a 12-team league.
Yeah, true.
But
I mean, do they have a chance?
I mean, it's very slim. I would honestly say less than 1%. But that would be if they win.
I don't want it. I don't want them to make the playoffs. I'm tanking for Caitlin, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Tanking for Caitlin. Let's go.
Come on.
We need some Caitlin Clark up
MVP.
here. Let's go.
I mean, you don't drop a 41-point triple-double because you suck. You drop a 41-point triple-double because you're damn good at what you do.
There you go.
And you don't got a draft pick next year. I mean, come on. I said this a few days ago, but tanking for Caitlin. Let's make it happen. But in regards to how they should play, they just got to play with effort. That's really, I think, all that it comes down to. Just play with effort, play with more physicality, just establish a culture, right? Because I think for the past couple seasons under Nygaard, you really haven't had a culture at all. It's honestly been, let's get through this season and pray that BG comes back. And now that she is back, you want some kind of identity. And DT's obviously talked about identity the whole season, and we're still trying to find it. But, it's important to establish who you are, for the next 5 years. If you're a team that's going to get after it on the boards, if you're going to play lockdown defense, if, we might only score 75 points a game, but we're only going to allow, 67, like, that's totally fine. Just they need to figure out what their identity is, and they need to do so sooner rather than later, or else they might end up with that number 1 pick.
Well, I think you're starting to see their identity right now. It's everything that is Britney Griner, and then it's everybody else.
Yes.
It's just, I mean, that's just what it is. And you hate to put DT in that category, but she's showing the long tooth, if you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it is what it is, man. And she's a GOAT. She's always going to be the GOAT of this franchise, and rightfully so. And of course, this next season might be her last. And she's even talked about the fact that it could be her last, the 2024 All-Star game, which I think is a tremendous send-off for somebody like that, especially if the team is not competitive again next year.
Absolutely. And Espo made this joke with me, and he said he's a mother time and father time are undefeated when it comes to sports. And I think that's...
I've never heard of mother time.
Well, he mentioned it, so if you want to talk to him after.
No, I just never heard that phrase.
But I mean, people know when it's time before they want to actually admit that it's time. But if she's gonna have a send off, next year's gonna be the year to do it. You know, she talked to reporters after the press conference this morning about just, yeah, if I were in it, just I would love to do the skills challenge and the 3-point contest, and who knows, maybe even be the game. But I mean, she would be on year 20. It would match her best friend Sue Bird. She's likely to hit 10,000 points this season. Like, she has nothing else to prove. All that she has to prove is that she's the greatest women's basketball player to ever play, and she's been that for the last 5 years. So if she's gonna send it off, I think this is the time to do it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they voted her in next year, because I mean, she deserves it. I mean, it's almost a career award than it is just a single season nomination. So hopefully that'll happen. Still a lot to be determined as we work out the rest of the season, especially when you're talking about some of these movable pieces. And right now, when you're talking about everybody outside of DT and Britney Griner, you're talking about players that are playing for a spot coming up either next year on this team or for other teams around the league. And I don't think I do not think that Matt Ishbia and now Nick Urin, when he comes in, are going to be complacent about how they attack this roster. It needs an overhaul. It needs as you put it, it needs an identity. And I think, as I pointed to, I think BG being that identity is what you're going to start to see. I think with DT, it was a lot more finesse. It was a lot. I mean, they were good defensively. Don't get me wrong, but they could score at a high clip because of DT. And now that's kind of waned a little bit, I think you're going to start to see maybe a grit and grind kind of Mercury team, somebody that likes to get physical. When you're playing against somebody like the Aces, who have some solid bigs, Asia Wilson included, you have to match that physical intensity. And I think that's what they're going to start to build around with BG.
Absolutely. There are teams too, like Indiana, with even a rookie in Aaliyah Boston, and then their second year forward, Alyssa Smith, and they're already building an identity. And if you watch their games, it's they're not one to, run and gun. They want to get the ball to their bigs down low and let them go to work. And I think if you're Nick Urin next season, I think you get a bunch of people that can space the floor. Yeah. They can handle the ball and space the floor. And what's funny about BG is I think of it like this. You can play somewhat decent defense on your guy, but because you have BG waiting. And it's the amount of times I have seen offensive players get to the basket and they see her and immediately hesitate is like I can't count, basically. And when you think about that, like, okay, this is your star. People are going to say, well, she's going to be entering in technically her 9th season because she missed last season. But her skill set is that to like Chris Paul, in my opinion, where it's going to age gracefully. BG has never been, the super athletic 5. A lot of her game is finesse. A lot of her game is skill and knowing where to be at the right time, when to be in proper position, which one of your teammates are open, how can I get the ball to them effectively? And so you have a good core. I think she can be the helm. She's your defensive anchor too, but you need players that can create for themselves. That's why I've been big on Michaela Onyenwere. I think she's a fantastic shot creator, ball handler, and a true mismatch nightmare. She's too quick for forwards, but she's too big for guards. I'm hoping to personally see a step up from Sophie Cunningham. I don't know where she's been the past couple weeks or so. I know a lot of it is because they've put some teams put better defenders on her, and she doesn't really handle physicality too well. When I was in New York, I saw Benijah Laney, who does not get her just due, a great two-way player, and just basically shut her down for most of the game. And a lot of it was because Sophie will run floppy sets. She'll run off of screens, off ball movement, catch and shoot. And if she has someone at her hip, she doesn't have a good enough ball handle yet to attack the basket consistently. Yep. So hopefully she can improve. But I think now it's get pieces, start to build around BG, around her skill set. That way you can maximize not only what she can do, but what this team can do for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
It's a shame that we didn't really get the peak of the Skylar Diggins-Smith,
Yes.
BG, and DT trio. You know what I mean? Because I always think of Skylar as somebody that could come back and help this ball club right away. But you don't know what status she's in right now physically after her, having the baby and stuff, and trying to figure all that out. And then whether or not they're even she's A, if she wants to come back, or B, if the team even wants her to come back. I don't know what that relationship is like. I don't know what's going to happen there. So I just feel like there's too many variables that you can't control. The one thing you can control is really being able to build around BG and attain assets that you think will best suit your team around her, because she, to me, is now the face of the franchise especially after DT leaves next year.
Yeah, an interesting point too.
If she leaves next year, I'm not DT. I'm not trying to retire you right now. I'm just saying.
An interesting point too that I literally just thought of is, will Nikki Blue stay? Because like do you give her another year to really, with an actual constructed roster? Or do you go out and do you find somebody? Because a big name that has been coming up, and I would not be surprised if Ishbia pulls the trigger on a deal like this, is to land somebody like a Teresa Witherspoon, who I have been head over heels for. I have been someone that has advocated for her for quite a while.
Big Comets fan, are you?
Oh yes, no, not a big Liberty fan, although she's in their Ring of Honor, but. I mean, a great coach, was an assistant with the Pelicans, knows talent, and I'm not saying she can be Becky Hammon. She could be close, though. A lot of players respect her. She brought an offensive identity to New Orleans, along with Willie Green. And when I see that, when I see a coach that can really implement something dangerous offensively or defensively, but more so on the offensive side of the ball because of the way the game is evolving, that's dangerous. Yeah. And when you have a coach that truly knows how to work with a generational player like Britney Griner, sky's the limit. BG could probably average 25 points a game if she had an offensive-minded coach like that knew how to get her in position, that knew how to get her the ball, and that really just knew how to get opportunities for her start. So if Teresa Witherspoon comes to Phoenix, I will not be mad one bit. But if Nikki Blue stays, I won't be mad either. I think it's a win-win.
So I'm guessing that you would prefer Witherspoon at this point?
I wouldn't, because I'm going off of Becky Hammon, which probably is not smart for me to do.
No, it's not.
But but it's it's okay. I'm gonna.
It's like saying, this person is just, he's kind of like Phil Jackson, except not.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Now that you say it like that, you got me questioning myself a little bit. But I think either her or Nikki Blue would be great. I think Nikki Blue gives me like early Monty Williams vibes, like just from a culture perspective. You know what you're getting. She brings toughness, intensity. She brings a focus on the defensive end. She doesn't really have a lot of great defensive players. That's why their rating is, in the toilet as of now. But I think, honestly, I could see her getting, hey, here's another season. We're going to rebuild. We like what you brought. But also, I could really see Ishbia pulling the trigger for a deal like that.
Yeah, he doesn't mess around when it comes to, especially a high visibility type names. And Teresa Witherspoon obviously has been that person. So who knows? But we still got plenty of games left. Plenty of time to find out, and who knows? Maybe the Mercury can get hot and get on a little run and actually make the playoffs this year, which would be cool, but not for me because I want to see Clayton Clark in Phoenix Mercury uniform more than anything. So you might as well replace one goat with another.
Yeah, I don't know what would happen if Phoenix made the playoffs. I really have no idea. I don't know what I would do. I would have mixed emotions because
as long as we get like a top 2 pick, I'm okay.
Yeah. I mean, but people are forgetting Paige Beckers is in this draft too.
I mean, yeah.
So it's stacked. But I could go into that in another time because that's all NIL deals and stuff.
And we have a whole off season for that. So.
Exactly. So we've got time.
Yeah,
is what we're saying
for sure. You got time to go to the PHNX, go PHNX.com and check out all the great merch we have. We actually have a brand new Merc shirt that just dropped. So you should go check it out. It's inside our PHNX locker. And if you become a diehard, you get to get that shirt for free if you want it. And one of our diehards actually renewed.
That's right.
His name is Daniel Caston, and he got that Merc shirt, and it looks phenomenal.
He did.
It's fantastic.
I bought my Merc shirt yesterday, too.
There you go.
I hope it comes in this week, but if it doesn't, then it'll be good to go next week.
I hope you used the promo code.
Oh,
There's
absolutely
no promo code. There's no promo code. Not for us. You just log in, you subscribe, and you get 20% off of all your merch. You get a free shirt just by signing up, and you get all the hookups for all the vendors that we have, all the partners that we have, and more. So check it out. Go PHNX.com. Also, we have a huge cornhole tournament finale going on at the beginning of August, the first Friday in August. It's our championship event. I don't know. I was trying to think of a bigger word, but there is no bigger word. It's just a huge event. All 8 of the PHNX teams will be out there playing cornhole alongside. I think right now we had 8 other teams that have at various times shown up to these tournaments and either won them or just participated. So it's going to be a fun time. Go check them out. Go check it out on our website, and then come join us over at BetMGM Sportsbook for all the fun.
Quick question.
Yeah.
I know some people call it cornhole. A couple people from the Midwest I know call it bags. Have you ever heard it called bags?
Yeah, I've heard it called bags.
Jacob, have you ever heard it called bags? Okay, so I'm not tripping. That's a real thing.
That's a real thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Some people
to
say, let's just play bags.
I have family from Chicago. I should know better.
Yeah, you should know better.
That's fine.
That's Hayden Silly. I'm Saul Bookman. Thank you so much for joining us. Oh yeah. Wait.
Hold on.
So the Mercury gave Hayden this cool little something.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is.
Need to find out what it is.
So he's going to open it up right now. So check it out.
Let's see.
This is great for the audio, by the way.
Hey, yo. That's kind of
cool.
tight. That's a ticket. It's a glass ticket.
You got to take that thing off.
Oh, there we go. It's a glass ticket, y'all. Look at that.
That's pretty cool.
That's like...
It's a little paperweight.
Yeah, I guess. That's cool, though.
That is pretty dope.
That's cool.
WNBA Allstar game coming to your hood in 2024. So check it out.
July 20th. Be there, be square.
It'll be fun. Come back. I don't know when we're doing this show again. Are we doing it again on Wednesday?
It could be up to you.
I think we're doing another show on Wednesday, folks, because we owe you a couple episodes. So we'll be back on Wednesday at 5 o'clock this time, not at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or 2 o'clock. And as always, you can follow Hayden Silly on Twitter at Hayden Silly. You can follow me on Twitter at Saul_Bookman. And you can follow the pod on Twitter as well at PHNX_Mercury. Until next time, peace.